Okay, I think we're all set. All right. Now we just have to make sure everybody can hear and see. You probably have to pull your chairs over so when you've got something to say so they can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta start the recorder. Okay. And can you turn the mic on? Yep, here's to Jim. It's fine. I'll grab the other one then. I've got another one here. Technology. Okay. All right, let's begin with a pledge and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father in heaven, we pray for thy guidance this night, that we might deliberate in the best interest of the town. We're thankful for the blessings that we receive and ask for this down in Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Okay. Okay, so first thing on the agenda then is anybody have any public comment to make at this time before we begin? Seeing none, then we'll move on to the manager's report.
Okay, the only thing I have is that I think we need to discuss our funds. Our municipal checking account is getting low in the bank. And I have spoken with Vicki Keaton, and she has sent me a letter stating that Heuristic Savings and Loan would offer us a municipal easy access credit line. And that would be for the purpose of covering checks and other amounts that would be charged to the check operating account. Credit line would be in an amount at least sufficient to pay checks and other charges as necessary, so we would avoid insufficient checking account balances. It would, the interest rate would be 3.25%. It would be secured by our existing CD accounts we have now. The automatic draw, the minimum increments are as low as $50. However, that amount can be adjusted to meet whatever needs we had. There's a minimum monthly payment amount, and which is due on the 15th of every month. It's generally the payment is automatically made from the same checking account for which it's tied to for draw purposes. So principal pay down is permissible at any time or frequency without penalty. So she would just, I told her that I needed to speak to the board about it, and maybe we could come up with a number that we would need to, an amount that we would need to start this, because we are getting low on our funds, and I think we should probably go ahead and let them know that, we should go with that.
So do you have an amount that you're recommending?
Well, right now in our municipal checking, we have $64,354. So we have a payroll coming up next week that usually runs around 20,000, and we have an accounts payable coming up that's we wanted to finish. We started it, but we didn't finish it this week. That's going to be a good amount. That's probably going to be around 30,000. So I would think 100,000. If you guys, whatever you guys think.
Did the bank have a recommendation?
She didn't really have a recommendation because she said whatever amount that we needed, they were good with. So she didn't recommend anything,
So what are your thoughts, guys?
What's the lack of money because of the registrations and stuff? Because I hate to pay 3% on our own money if we have it somewhere, and you're gonna get 100,000. How are you gonna pay the payments back if you don't have any money coming in enough to pay it?
Well, I mean, that's part of it is lack of registrations, but we're still lacking in, a lot of tax payments. There's still quite a bit out there that's owed. We spent, quite a bit of money on things that we didn't budget for. So there's a few factors as to why we're low. We haven't gotten reimbursed CDBG money from, we haven't had a reimbursement on that yet, as we're waiting for one business to do some paperwork to submit it. And as long as that's not being done, we can't collect that. We're waiting on, of course, we paid the ambulance. We paid the first quarter. We've already gotten the bill for the second quarter. I sent an invoice to the LDA and have not received anything from them as of yet. So there's a few factors that play into that.
The CBG, how much you waiting to get Vicky on that? What are we lacking with the guy, the business owner?
I'm not sure. Walt, would you know the amount on that we're waiting to get reimbursed?
Well, it's around 30,000,
Okay.
but the paperwork has been submitted. Doug Ray, who's watching it right now, because Terry Ann, she's been in the hospital and she's got medical conditions right now. So everything's been turned over to Doug Ray, which he already had his hands full for working a number of other CDBG grants. So he notified me that he has received it and he's looked it over. So now it's just the next step that we're waiting on.
That's good.
So
Currently, what does LDA owe for the payment?
Well, I think the first quarter they owe us is like 25,000, somewhere around there. And then, but I believe I sent them the invoice for both quarters because we received the bill for the second quarter. So the invoice I sent to him was for both quarters.
What was the reply on that, Vicky? Any at all?
I did not get a response. And I did send out an email to them on Monday asking, where, if they had received it, and I got no reply again.
I would suggest that you call them tomorrow morning and see what the status is.
Okay.
So what are we lacking? If we got tax money, did anybody ever figure out what we're lacking to make till the end of the year? So we are in the green
What are we lacking as far as tax money?
funds
It's
or in general? Compared to last year, I guess we'd only go by
I mean, we usually get a little low about this time of the year, but it's not usually this low, so, but there's quite a bit of taxes left that are owed that, we haven't received. I mean, and that we bank on that money every year, as that's our,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Vicky, as far as the line of credit, if we did 100,000, we don't actually draw on that though until we get to that point, right? We just work it up to it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but realistically, if they ain't gonna open the state up till June 1st, and you're already saying you're gonna go through a good part of what you got now, about 54,000, so you only got 10 left, is 100,000 gonna carry us a month? Doesn't seem realistic, does it? If
Well,
it's continuing like this?
Well, I mean, that's what I would ask for right now. I mean, we have 4 or 5 payrolls left. And we'll have, we usually do a payable each week. So I would think to start with that at, the beginning to see what what we bring in, you know, with other stuff. I mean, we still have people calling to register vehicles, but it's not a lot, you know what I mean? And because they know that there's that grace period that
Right.
they wait, so
Have we froze any budgets to this point at all?
we have not. I mean, I did mention it to the departments the other, you know, to not to, you know, to be careful and to be smart about what their, you know, what we need, their needs are.
Okay. So what do you think?
Well, I don't think you have much choice.
Yeah, I don't think we have much choice either, except I would definitely be looking into freezing some budgets. I know everybody, when you say, you know, only spend what you have to, that usually never happens unless there's a heavy foot that comes down.
Yeah, but it's so late in the year now, there ain't much left to freeze, really.
Well, I mean, we're looking for $100,000.
Yeah.
True, true.
Yeah.
I make a motion to go to the bank and get a credit line for 100,000.
Second. Okay,
Who second?
Fred.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the line of credit? Seeing none, all in favor then, raise your hand. Okay,
I'd like to see every 2 weeks how that account's doing, if we could, please.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
and I think with the town manager, if she's monitoring the expenses, she can sit on those that are still spending when they shouldn't be, so.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, I'm going to take the next, is there anything else that you have under manager's
Nope.
report?
No, that was it.
Okay, so let's take the next item out of order since we've got the school department here. We've got Superintendent Dobbins with us and we'll let him speak. I've sent the packages to everybody, so you wouldn't have it, but did you get them? Anyway, Bill, you want to go ahead and talk about what you got here?
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak into the select people today. Last December, January, when I reported to the selectmen the status of the school, we indicated that we applied for a renovation fund through the Department of Education. We were awarded that fund application on January 31st, 2020. What we actually applied for was two components. One component was dealt with ADA compliance. In the school, the elevator is not in compliance. It breaks down. There's major problems with that. We have 6 boys and girls restrooms. 2 were refurbished before we came along, and we need to do 6 more. That falls under the ADA compliance. The total project amount that the engineers and everybody put together was $256,000. They awarded us $255,550. We made an error in a percentage. That's why they lost $450 off that. That's what happened there. The second project we applied for was indoor air quality. If you notice that to reduce the amount in the school of use of fuel and wood chips and so on, things like that, the univents do not work. They're old, decrepit, and by going under indoor air quality, we're able to secure that part of it also. They awarded us $529,135 to do that. That will eventually have to go to the bid if everything's approved. We're going through the Maine Mutual Bond Bank, and one of the requirements under the Maine Mutual Bond Bank is I have to have your approval to submit the application and work the way through. As soon as I get approval from the select people of Limestone, I can submit the application, and then we'll forward on, go from that part. You can see in the package I sent to you, Walt, and the rest of you, that we were on January 31st, the letter from the Department Pender, our commissioner, granted that. And the third page was the breakdown. The breakdown is they're paying 70% of the fund is forgivable. We don't have to pay 70% of it. We only have to pay 30%. Because it's over $500,000 when you add both of them together, we can boost that off to 10 years. So you take the remainder divided over 10 years, only $23,000. That's good investment on your money. These are two critical parts of projects that we need to complete in the school to bring a lot of compliance issues up to order there. So that's a snapshot, what we've been working on, basically like that. What we're going to do is try to rearrange our debt service with the boiler mass. That's working through the process our budget committee is working on right now. If we're able to do this and also rearrange the biomass debt, we're able to bring our debt service from 113 down to 111, including this amount of money we have to pay. So without any increasing any more debt, in fact, it's going to be less, we'll be able to do this with also part of the debt will be included. The state has approved us for a new bus, so we have to come up with the first payment. That's part of in the restructure of our debt here. But basically what I'm asking Walt in the committee is have approval, go ahead to submit the application and work through the process we need to work through at that time.
Okay.
I think that's a quick summary of what I sent to you guys. I'll entertain any questions.
So my understanding from what you're saying is this will not increase your overall budget, and by restructuring it, it reduces your overall debt load slightly.
By $2,000, Chris, yeah, that's correct.
By 2,000, okay. What is your projected savings once you have those new univents installed?
Good question. Jeff Armstrong, the engineer, has not really gave me that, but I know it's going to be considerable after, Chris, as you know, you've been through the building as Walt has. Half those darn things don't work. Half the time they're on, and some of the rooms are like 65 degrees, other rooms are 85. So we're trying to get uniform much as we can there on that part.
One thing, if I may, that will also include in that the electronics to help moderate those better and upgrade them from the pneumatic system to an electronic system.
Yeah, that's true, because right now you have, well, I call it a hodgepodge. You've got two different systems trying to operate in the same parameters, and one is being proprietary software. They don't want to update it without a whole changeover. So this is a good thing, I think.
There is one hiccup to the whole thing, is they reduced the univert replacement by 40% because they will not cover wing B at this point. I have permission from my school committee to challenge that, but because of the COVID-19, I can't get down to the Department of Education challenge it at this time. So it's a possibility it might be more given to us. Can't hold out with the DOE.
Okay, so what are your wishes?
I make a motion to accept and give our blessings to go for the school department to go ahead and go forth with this contract.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to proceed with the bond. So any further discussion? I keep looking over here. I'm just so used to it. Seeing none, all in favor then? It's unanimous.
Thank you, Walt.
Thank you.
Walt, I'll do what I have to do to finish the paperwork. I'll need a copy of the minutes when they're done to show that vote.
Okay.
I appreciate that when that is done.
Yep, we can do that.
May I add another question while I got the floor? Any timeline or idea when you need a budget presentation from the school committee?
That's what we're working on now. So probably, I would say probably next week would be good if you could have it to us. We're working down through right now
If not, the following week would be the latest.
Okay, I'll bring that back to we're meeting tomorrow. I'll bring that back to my subcommittee.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. So the next item, we're back to the budget workshop. We have Public Works here. Did the library join us? No, see no library. Now, anyway, we got Public Works. That's what's important.
Excuse me.
Oh, I think I left mine on my desk. Anyway, you got yours. Okay. So let's start down through it then.
Insurance.
Insurance.
Okay,
Any questions?
any
So-
questions on the insurance?
Is that increase similar to other departments?
Yeah. It's because of what's happening.
Yeah, Chris, it's for a cost of living increase, and also when we get to the line for employees, I'm asking for money for another full-time employee if possible. So that it all puts that up a little bit, these next couple of lines, the insurance, the FICA, Medicare, and the pension.
Okay.
Okay, next.
I think that's the given.
As we go down through, if you have a question on a particular line, if you would just speak up, that'd be the simplest way to go through this.
Okay, the next one, FICA Medicare, is also the same. It's for the hourly increase, and it's for the potential of a new employee. So that would be showing the difference there.
So what's the difference, Jimmy, if you take this employee proposal out of it? What's the money going to be with just a raise? Does anybody know that?
The overall difference, I don't know. The employee salary would be roughly 33,800, Jim, plus what it takes for the insurance. And I don't know the percentage that, the insurance and FICA all takes and tax on a small percentage for that salary.
Okay.
So to compare, if we go down and look at the library is roughly 1% increase in their insurance. And if you go up and look at the administration, it's roughly 3% increase.
Yeah, it's a drastic jump.
Okay, and I don't have those percentages on mine, so
Sure.
I don't know what mine jumped.
Does that seem right, Vicky, that much of a jump?
I'm looking at it right now. It does not look,
41%,
does not-
is a lot.
yeah, it is a lot. It doesn't look right because I'm looking at, like Chris said, admin's only 3.58.
Everything's about
That
the
one
same
first.
except this.
Yeah, that
It's
seems
about 10
like
times.
an error. That's strange. That is high because like I said, I'm looking at the others.
The percentage, say, Fred.
Yeah.
It's, insurance is 41%, 41.44. MMEHT is 33.75.
Every other department's about 3.85, 3.5.
And then pension is 100%.
Well, the pension, I can explain that because last year they put $0 in there.
Right,
And that 250, we pay a monthly bill for Conrad Edgecombe and for Dale Brooker, Porky. And it's not a lot of money, but it adds up to just under $250 a year under that pension line. So last year, for whatever reason, the manager opted to put 0 in there and show a negative balance. And I would rather have a little bit of money there and not show that we spent into the hole. So we took that 250 and put that in there. So that way it would cover that insurance.
that pension rate.
Makes
So we're
sense.
still paying that?
Yes.
I guess I'll have to look into that and why. That doesn't make sense.
MMEHT sends us a bill every month.
But why?
No, no.
I want to look into that.
Okay.
If I can Medicare looks good.
Okay,
Well, that was showing big increases compared to other departments, so something's gonna be. It should, it's at 540, which jumped by $7,000, which is a big jump. It's still showing outstanding balance of 11,370, which hasn't been spent yet this year. We're almost at the end of the year.
What are you talking about, Fred? The 44,000? You're talking about the next one, the pension?
I'm talking on insurance, the 05-40 line.
Yeah, okay.
It shows a balance of 11,377. We're pretty much at the end of the fiscal year, but when you look at what they budgeted for the following year, it jumped by another 7,000. I question that. Can you give us an insight, Vicki?
Which one is that?
This is the very first line, the insurance.
Yeah. And what was your question?
Well, it shows that we got quite a large balance still in that.
Could that,
10,481.
yeah, could that increase be though, figuring that if you were to hire a new employee, that the town pays a portion, 80% portion of that insurance?
It could be.
Yes, I believe
Because that
that's,
would be a pretty significant number.
yes.
Okay.
So can we get numbers without this employee and with what we're gonna go with the raises proposed and without the employee, so I could tell the difference of what we're talking for actual money for the two different options? Is that possible, Vicky?
Oh, sure. Yes.
It seems like it'd be easier to figure out instead of sitting here with a calculator. Please.
But when you do the math on what the payroll's set at, and you go back up and figure the 6% for FICA and the 1% for Medicare, that does add up to 17,700.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that is correct, because you're increasing your overall payroll by about 67,000.
Yeah.
So you think that's 41% somewhere near?
Based on the notes and doing the math, I think it's right.
I think it's close. Now that you figure it out that way, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, so we're on payroll.
On payroll, this shows the additional employee.
Correct.
It does.
$70,000 difference thereabouts.
I have one question here on this. This really doesn't do anything for dollar amounts, but is the highway department also going to do the mowing again this summer like we did last summer?
Vicky, is that what you had planned?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Does anybody remember whose budget we put that in?
Thought it was the rec, or am I wrong?
We moved it. I mean, it was moved often.
We took it from the rec, yeah.
Yes, we did. Yeah. That was a couple of years ago, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it came from the rec department, and was put on the highway department, and it was funded until our last budget. And that $12,000 was taken out in an effort to conserve money. And it was just paid through the highway payroll at that point. So in essence, she took $12,000 last summer and had the highway workers do it. That's not the problem. The problem is you're paying somebody $15 or close to $15 an hour to mow grass when you could be paying somebody less money to mow grass. And you have people, taxpayers, complaining that you have your highway workers doing that instead of doing culverts that need to be replaced or culverts that need to be reset. And there's a lot of work around town that's not being kept up with, that we just get a little bit further behind each year and a little bit further behind each year. And if we're gonna keep doing that, at some point in time, you're just gonna have to shut roads down at halfway through because the culvert's gonna give way and the highway department doesn't have the availability to do it. We have a 5-month-long summer. You have 4 employees, and they all get 3 weeks worth of vacation time, and they can't take any vacation time for 7 months. So during the summer, they're trying to squeeze their 3 weeks vacation in. That takes you 1 man out of the department for a total of 4 months if you figure it out.
Right. Jimmy, on the winter hire, I assume that position has been laid off.
Yes.
Did we have any money left? Do you know off the top of your head? I don't need an exact dollar figure.
It was better than 5,000 and probably, I would say right around 7,000, Jimmy.
Okay, thank you.
But for whatever reason, I don't know where that 20,000 was ever added into my budget because coming up to the end of the budget cycle on my detailed expense report, we're just gonna have enough money in payroll for this budget cycle to get us through to the end of June.
Well, I had mentioned it before that we looked at the budget and it was not put in there. And I had asked that it be put in and I still have not seen that. Well, we did that on Vicky, did that in his payroll.
Are you sure we didn't do that, Jimmy?
We asked at a meeting, but I've never physically seen it. So that's why I asked you, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Vicky,
Well,
the librarian's
Yeah.
link is in her email.
the R Frost, that's the one.
Yeah, should be there.
She said she hasn't received it. So let me text her again.
Well, you can just send it to her while you're right there.
Okay.
It's easier than doing it on my phone while I've got spreadsheets open and stuff.
Going back to the mowing, I agree. I think that we should either shift the mowing to rec or hire somebody to mow part-time and put it back under public works. It doesn't matter to me, and I don't think it needs to be a 40-hour week either. I think that they could do it in 30 hours.
Well, in the past, we had the summer hires. We had them do it for a while too.
Yeah.
That worked out really good for them, so.
Well, I think we need to look at this and change this format for mowing lawns.
So what have we done as far as the camping? So hypothetically, they say maybe June. So have we gone ahead to get a guy that's gonna take care of the campground? Could he not mow Trafton and stuff? Could that be part of that position? I mean, is that realistic or? Of course, anything's realistic, but.
Could be. Maybe it's up, up to you guys. Yeah, that could be.
We just have to get the mower out there to them.
That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
You got the gasoline mower, we could go right up and drop right off and.
Yeah.
And then.
How many
one
man
of
hours?
our-
How many man hours a week does it take to mow the town?
Depending on whether I had 1 man on it or 2 man, it would take. And I wasn't there watching them every single minute, you understand, but I would say it would take 1 guy pretty close. It'd be close to 40 hours. It'd be at least 30, 34, 35 hours.
And that's mowing Trafton and the park.
Trafton, you have the ballpark, you have around the pond here in town. You have Rotary Park, you have the town office, the library, the highway department. You have the cemetery next to the town office. You have the cemetery out on California Hill. That's not what everybody calls it, but. And then you have another cemetery somewhere we gotta mow.
Is it on Warfield?
No. No, it seems like there was 3. And then you have the 3 welcome to limestone signs that gotta be mowed around.
But as far as having the Trafton person do it, I could see him doing Trafton, but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Trafton takes about 1 day, about 8 hours, 1 person.
yeah, I think we could manage that.
Then you'd have to get a guy either under Jimmy or under the rec. If he, I don't know if he's hiring anybody. I haven't looked at that budget, but then you could just get a minimum wage person and the $12,000, you should be underneath that for the summer. So I mean, that would still work. I thank you, Jimmy.
Hey, no problem.
Okay,
Office supplies,
no questions?
No.
Okay.
office travel,
Is that-
Hold on. I'm gonna leave this budget looking to hire another full-time employee. That's my understanding.
well, what they want is they want Vicky to show them the difference of what the budget would look like without hiring a full-time employee
Okay.
and with hiring a full-time employee. So I would assume that she would get those ready for you in the next couple of days or whenever.
Yeah.
And get them to you.
Yeah, okay.
But, and that would be much easier so you could see the difference.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a copy of that too, Vicky, please.
Sure.
Okay, we good on office supplies?
Yeah,
Okay, office travel. We're not gonna get to do much traveling this year because a lot of our trainings have been canceled. We were supposed to attend trainings at Umpy. We were supposed to attend trainings down in Holton on erosion control. And some of those were mandated, but at the same time, they also canceled them. So right now, I don't expect much of that to spend, but just in case towards the end of the summer or the fall, they do have some trainings that we need or are required. I left that the same.
Okay, vehicle maintenance?
Vehicle maintenance.
Are we catching up at all on vehicle maintenance or are we?
Well,
um,
our equipment gets a year older every year, Chris. So I'd like to say, yes, we're catching up, but that'd be a darn lie because every year the equipment gets older, it's just, there's more breakdowns. Is what it seems like to me anyway.
So what are you looking to do, Jimmy? What's your big projects over the summer as far as maintenance besides getting that Mack truck? Because we talked about that. What other things do you envision trying to get done?
Well, the grader has not had an inspection sticker for a couple of years because it needs a total brake job on it. And I'm hoping that I can take one of the other guys and we can tear into that and get those brakes replaced and get that back so it's a road inspectable piece of equipment.
Okay, that's all you're looking forward to?
Well, I don't know how big that job's gonna be, Jim. Right now, I can't spend a whole lot of money before the end of June, so.
No, I'm
There's-
talking about the whole summer.
Yeah,
Like what projects, like everything else seems to be in good shape. I guess I don't go down, Jimmy. That's why I'm just asking. I don't know what goals you have or what obstacles that you're having trouble with this winter. That was what it was.
well,
directed.
right now, we're getting everything I would call de-winterized. You know, we're washing everything up and we're getting it oiled up and we're getting it ready to park for the summer. And we've had some big jobs. The International has had a major work done to it here in the last couple of months. And we just changed the air-to-air cooler this week. That set us back another grand.
What is that, a Mac force, Jimmy? You're having trouble with admissions? Is that what the problem is?
The problem ended up being, well, there was an emissions issue, but the biggest problem is the computer. There's 2 computers on the truck. There's one for the engine, there's one for the cab. And the 2 computers, for whatever reason, stopped communicating. So one computer would say that the brake pedal was pressed when it wasn't, or the clutch pedal was pressed when it wasn't. So it wasn't allowing us to do our own regens after we got the filter cleaned.
Okay. So what
we have to go get it reset out of International at a couple of $100, and then they could do a park regen, but we couldn't do it ourselves because we don't have the computers and the software.
Correct.
So I ended up taking it to International, and they found the computer problem after about a week and a half, and it cost us almost $7,000 or over $7,000. It was like 7,500.
So what was it, the Sam's?
The what?
The Sam's, the cab? That's what it was?
No, it was a computer for the International, the cab side of the truck.
Right, they call it the Sam's. Okay. No, we're
Oh,
good.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. And that's got a max force motor?
No, it's got a Cummins in it.
Okay, that's good. Good deal.
Okay, next item, fuel and move.
Okay, if everybody decides that a new hire employee is not on here, we are right up against our wall on our maintenance budget this year. So if we're gonna adjust the budget any, it'd be nice to have a little bit more money in maintenance. I mean, we do have older equipment. We're not trying to ask anybody to buy us another piece of equipment this year. We need to have the money there so we can fix stuff when it does break.
What are you looking for, Jeff?
Well, if you're not gonna hire another employee so we can get more work done, I would say somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 in the maintenance budget wouldn't be unreasonable.
Okay.
I mean, we put a radiator in the grader here within the last 3 weeks. That was $1,400. You can't buy a grader for $1,400. So, but it had to have it because it was seeping out as fast as you pour the antifreeze in.
What about the snow blower and stuff, Jimmy? Is that something you're gonna try to paint? Is it working good? Is it
The
neat?
Oshkosh,
Yes.
I have no plans to paint it. The green looks ugly, but it works.
Yep.
The only thing we need to do to the Oshkosh is before fall or before winter time is we'll have to drop the fuel tanks out and have them cleaned on the inside and maybe possibly lined, because we're getting a lot of rust, and about every third time we use it, we're changing fuel filters. And it's time consuming.
Absolutely.
Fuel and lubricants,
So,
any questions? Contract services? Nothing?
So on contract services, other than beaver trapping and uniforms, what are we looking at for contract services?
We have the sidewalk sprayed for weeds. I usually file that under contract services. Probably the reason I put it up $1,000, Chris, the biggest reason is because of, I'm having a lot of trouble with beavers, and the closest guy to come and trap them now is out of Mars Hill. And he does charge mileage when he comes.
What's the deal with the spraying of the sidewalks? You said you contract that out. What's usually the cost of that? And how do we go about getting people to come forth to bid or whatever you use services for that?
Okay, you have to have a pesticide license through the state of Maine.
Okay.
You have to be a licensed applicator to do it.
you still do that?
And
I know he's asking this question.
usually I think it was right around $450, and I think we had a little extra done last year along Morse Road. I think the total for the year might have been $700.
Okay, thank you. Not too bad.
Okay,
The materials budget stayed the same.
What are we looking for this summer to hot top, Jimmy? Have you come up with any ideas of what road, what mile or whatever? I know we don't do a lot, so that you're thinking about doing. I guess it's on the next page. I'm sorry. I see it now.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't know what the going rate is yet because nobody started up their plants and nobody's buying liquid asphalt, so
Yeah, this.
they haven't set their pricing yet.
I don't have to.
I would assume that it's gonna stay roughly where it was last year, even though the price of oil is down. I don't expect the price of asphalt to drop a whole lot.
Contract services.
I hope that it does.
Only got 8,000.
But with our budget, we're right around a mile, a little over a mile of hot top that we can put down. If you take a ride on the Center Limestone Road or the West Limestone Road, you'll see those are really bad. If you take a ride on Huggard Avenue or Pleasant Street or High Street, you'll see that those are really bad.
Yeah, we're in a bad way as far as our infrastructure by all means.
We are, if we don't start picking our budget up here to where we can do at least 3.5 to 4 miles a year, we're never gonna keep up with it. It'll be one of those things that's gonna keep going backwards and backwards, and
For sure. You'll never get
I'm
caught.
just not sure this year's a good year to pick the budget up, you know what I'm saying? That's why I haven't touched it.
Seems like a struggle every time you think you could put money somewhere, then somewhere else it's needed. But I do absolutely agree with you on the infrastructure, definitely in terrible shape.
Next line is safety. On this one, the boys have a request. Right now, the town pays up to $300 every other year for safety boots. And they don't last for 2 years. So what they would like is to have the town pay up to $200 per pair of safety boots, but get it each year. So your boots are gonna be good for at least a year. But they don't generally get you 2 years because we're in the wet, salty crap in the winter, and we're in the hot top in the summertime and in the mud, and they just don't seem to hold up for 2 years.
What's a set of boots cost?
My last pair of boots cost $230.
Don't most communities go with like a boot program? I've seen it come across here, but I've never gone where they do like a municipal rate for Dexter, good shoes, or not Dexter, but Red Wings, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And, for quite a substantial less price.
Well, that's what I bought when I bought mine, were Red Wings, and they were, like I said, they were, after I bought them, they were $230 out the door. Fort Fairfield pays $250 a year for their employees, and Caribou does the same, and they get them boots each year. Back when the town had a union, the employees at that time wanted better boots and wanted the 2-year program at $300 a year. Now we don't have a union, and it's up to the board whether or not you want to change it. So it'll also have to be changed in our policy book, because it's a part of the addendum for the highway department.
Okay, I made the note.
Next item is fuel and utilities. And the last item is building maintenance. And
Jimmy, are you looking at filling your tanks before the end of the year with the lower cost or anything like
yeah,
that?
they were just filled Monday.
Okay.
And I don't know how much fuel we'll use before the end of the year, but I'll probably have them filled one more time before the end of the year, but.
What are you paying for on-road right now, Jimmy?
It was under $2 a gallon last time I checked, Jim.
Good, okay.
On this building maintenance, we still haven't, I think we still have a deal with Randy Brooker to put metal on our little white salt shed. And I don't remember what his bid was, but it'll come out of that $24,000 balance.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I remember we talked about it, but I don't know if we ever followed up on it.
Yeah, but I think he was awarded a contract for the little white salt shed, but not the 9-bay garage unit, because that was above what we had proposed.
Right.
Okay.
Proposal for 2021. $10,000. Well,
Yes.
yes. So that's quite a bit less.
Well, yeah, because you get the salt shed doors done. That doesn't have to be redone. And the white salt shed will get metal on it, so it stops leaking.
When was he gonna do that?
Is there something else that we need to do to the highway garage too?
Well, there's a lot that could be done, but
Yeah, a whole bunch.
I think that's your
it's like
waste.
patching a sinking ship.
You're like plugging one hole in a strainer.
More or less.
All right.
Well, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of replacing one of those doors, but I looked at it. The door number one, as you're facing it, would be the right-hand door.
Right.
You got electrical on one side, sub panels. You can't move those, and you got a beam on the other side. So you're not going to gain more than a foot there. So then you'd have to have a custom door. And the other one, you could physically move the what's it there? The air tank. We have a great big air tank there, and we have a shelf that we have some plow blades on that we could move those, and you could make that door larger as far as the width. I don't think you can go any taller because we don't have much of a pitch to that roof.
No, I don't think you can go tall, but if you went wider, it probably would help you move equipment in and out like that.
It'd be easier, but I think you're gonna have a lot more expense than what you realize.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that I would hold off to figure out what we're gonna do with the building first. I don't think to put much money in there is very beneficial to anybody.
Okay, so as far as I can see, that's it for Public Works then.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody.
You too, Jimmy.
Thanks,
Thank you
Jimmy.
for coming.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, I said it's good seeing everybody, even though we couldn't shake hands.
We couldn't even see you.
I think the librarian is on, Walt.
Yes, she is. I saw her.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, you guys want me to start? This is my first
Yep.
one of these, so alrighty. Let's, I guess the first item on the agenda then is insurance, which is going up slightly. Any questions about that? Nope. All right, how about payroll? We have a slight increase there. Everybody's good? Alrighty, office expenses, we have a little increase there due to the addition of the 6 computers from the grant last season. So that just kind of increases antivirus, etc. So we're all good there? Yes, okay, office travel, same there. Fuel and lube, there's never anything in that one. Contract services, same. Materials budget. So we're looking to increase that slightly for some additional large print books, teen section expansion, etc. But pretty small increase, 1,500 for that. Any questions there?
I just want to say something on
No,
the,
everybody's good. All right.
every year I watch, I pay attention to the budgets and I just noticed like every year the library always, she's always been asked, the librarian's always been asked to cut down as low as she can go, and I think I don't think that's too much to put that little bit of an increase in there. I mean, I know I worked in a library for many, many years and really love it. And I mean, we have patrons that use the library a lot. And I think so that extra money for the books, I don't think that's going overboard. So I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Vicki.
You're welcome.
All right, fuel and utilities, looks like that's staying the same. And then building maintenance, overall slight decrease because the insulation, baffling job, etc., was removed from that. So we are looking at, we would love to have some security system added in there and a couple of different areas tied into the main one. That's something we feel like we could really benefit from once we open our doors again, whenever that is. Anyway, everybody's comfortable with this? What do you guys think?
How successful have you been this year with applying for grants or receiving grants?
We have received the one fairly large grant from the Maine Community Foundation. That was the technology grant. So that was wonderful. 6 computers, the desks, all the setup. I've applied for a couple of different grants. So far, nothing, but I'm keeping at it. I'd really like to this next year really focus more on getting grants in, really kind of dumping that into programming and whatever else we can get in. So it's on my list.
And how did your building fare after the construction work was done?
I think actually it's gotten warmer and we're consuming a little less fuel. So much better. Yeah. And actually we got the temperature sensor changed out near that back door where we don't have a radiator that's working. But because of the baffling that's been changed, the insulation that's been blown in, we got that temperature sensor changed out. So everything's kind of just equalized. So
good.
Yeah. Anything else, you guys?
Y'all good?
Good, yeah.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Vicki. Bye.
Bye.
Trying to get out of it.
You just want to hang around.
Okay, so I see Bud just chimed in, but I didn't admit him. Well, let's go ahead and do the warrants and so forth then. Payable warrant 71 and payroll warrant 70, so 70 and 71.
Did we get a copy of the warrants?
That's what I was just looking. I don't have it.
Vicky sent them, I have them here.
What was it?
I got 78, 71 right here.
70,
got it?
yeah, I
Send them on an email. I got them right here in front of me. So
Oh, yeah, it's probably here. I didn't even think about that.
the AP warrant's just it's got one item on it.
No, number 70, I got it.
Yeah, 70 is payroll and 71 is payable, accounts payable.
2 file cabinets.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps chiming in, but I don't see any.
I don't see any new faces, but I keep hearing bells ringing.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve warrant 70 and 71.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor then of the warrants? It's unanimous.
So we're not needing to sign these. Well, how we doing that?
Well,
So just a technical.
I've been signing them here on the counter when I come in. And Fred, when he works, he's been signing them. So at some point, they'll be there for all of us to sign, but as long as it gets a couple signatures, they're authorized anyway, so.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to I'll change it now to executive session if somebody wants to make a motion
I make a motion to go in executive session.
for MRSA, well, Title I MSRA 36A,
Second.
2056A. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none then, we'll move to executive session.
I have to get out.
We got just a minute, Walter. We'll get a drink.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just a second.
Okay, I gotta stop the YouTube.